Social Studies, Unit 3, End of Unit Document-Based Question. Part 1, Read and Plan. Step 1, contextualize the question. Answer the questions below. This will serve as your background knowledge. Number 1, what was the market revolution? Number 2, what was the abolitionist movement? Number 3, what is sectionalism? These notes will help you to contextualize the documents when you analyze evidence and to contextualize your argument when you write. DBQ, what caused the Civil War? What are the key words in this question? In your own words, what is this question asking you to write about? Step 3, read and analyze the documents. Instructions. Read each document, underlining important evidence as you read. Then answer the question. DBQ. What caused the Civil War? Source A. Thomas R. Dew, Review of the Debate in the Virginia Legislature of 1831 and 1832. Thomas R. Dew was a professor at the College of William and Mary. In addition to growing up and living in the South, he was known to be a strong supporter of slavery. The present value of slaves in Virginia is about $100 million. The assessed value of all the houses and lands in the state amounts to $206 million. Do not these simple statistics speak volumes upon the subject? It is seriously recommended to the state of Virginia that she give up her slaves. In other words, Virginia is expected to sacrifice 1/2 of her total worth. It is, in truth, the slave labor in Virginia which gives value to the soil and to her economy. Source B, Charles Dickens, The Harbinger, November 1836. Charles Dickens was a famous British author who visited the United States in the 1830s and was brought to the textile factory in Lowell, Massachusetts. This excerpt is from a report published in an American journal. In Lowell lived between 7,000 and 8,000 young women who were generally daughters of farmers of the New England states. The young women work for 13 hours a day and are given their room and meals. When the owner of a factory can get that much labor out of a girl, it can get nothing more. It would be a poor idea for factory owners to own the worker, for the trouble and expense of providing for times of sickness and old age would cost a lot more than the price of wages and the expense of board and clothing. The far greater number of fortunes amassed in the North than in the South shows that the hireling labor is more profitable for the businessman than slave labor. Source C, George Fitzhugh, The Universal Law of Slavery, excerpt from Cannibals All, 1857. Fitzhugh was a Southern writer and a defender of slavery. He was amongst its strongest defenders in the years leading up to the Civil War. In the last place, the Negro race is inferior to the white race, and if they are allowed to live freely like white people, they would be far outstriped or outwitted by white people in the free competition for jobs. Gradually, the Negro would die out. We presume the maddest abolitionist does not think the Negro's character and money-making capacity at all compared to those of the whites. The defect of character would alone justify enslaving him, if he is to remain here. Source D, the defendant's words. John Brown's last speech, November 2nd, 1859. I believe that to have done what I have done was not wrong, but right. Now, if it is deemed necessary that I should give up my life to further the end of justice and mingle my blood further with the blood of my children and with the blood of millions in this slave country whose rights were disregarded by wicked, cruel, and unjust acts, I say, so let it be done. Source E, Major Party Platforms, Election of 1860. Republican Party Platform. Congress, newly formed territories, and individuals do not have the authority to give legal existence to slavery in any territory of the United States. Southern Democratic Party Platform. All citizens of the United States have an equal right to settle with their property in the territory, without their rights either of person or property being impaired. Source F, Results of the 1860 Election Party. Presidential candidate, Abraham Lincoln. Political party, Republican. Electoral votes, 180. Presidential candidate, John C. Breckinridge. Political party, Southern Democratic. Electoral votes, 72. Presidential candidate, Stephen A. Douglas. Political party, Democrat. Electoral votes, 12. Presidential candidate, John Bell. Political party, Constitutional Union. Electoral votes, 39. Graphic organizer. Source A. What does this source tell us about the South? Source B. What does this source tell us about the North? Source C. How did some Southerners view African Americans? Source D. How did abolitionists respond to the South? Source E. What does this source tell us about the main political parties in the 1800s? Source F. Why is the election of 1860 so significant? What patterns do you notice about what caused the Civil War? Context, thesis, main idea 1, source that supports, source that supports. Main idea 2, source that supports, source that supports. Main idea 3, source that supports, source that supports. Part 2, writing. Directions. The question below is based on the accompanying documents. The documents have been edited for the purpose of this assessment. Write a 4 to 5 paragraph essay response in which you provide background information for the question, state a thesis or claim that directly addresses the question and fully answers the question, supports the thesis or claim with evidence from at least 4 of the documents. Write a sourcing statement for at least one of the documents. Restate the thesis or claim to conclude the essay. DBQ, what caused the Civil War?